Hello YouTubers, Troz here, back with some of my Factorio All Item Train gameplay. And, well, I have a few things planned for this episode. We now have... wrong button. Last time, we've been filling the train and, well, we've caught up on all the items we're producing. Last time we did start producing these artillery cars and track stuff, and they're all in now. But I noticed. Well, let's go over here. We're really low now on fuel. Now, some of these trains are getting fueled at other stations. In particular, these 2-8 trains, when they go load up on like plates, they're getting fueled there. But several of these 1-4 trains aren't getting fueled anywhere but here, particularly the uranium miners and anything with raw ore. The outposts don't have fueling stations, so it's about time I set up fuel production here, or nuclear fuel production, and not nuclear power plant fuel production. So for that, I'm gonna turn this uranium line back on, so we're processing uranium again. And we're over here. I set up a train to go pick up solid fuel. So let's get that running, and I'll briefly show what I did over here at my oil plant. I set up a few additional lines, actually quite a few episodes ago. I haven't used them yet, but we got oil, petroleum gas, and heavy oil, and also solid fuel. And these are all, as full as they can be. We are producing solid fuel, not actually from here, but from down here, which is a coal liquefaction to supplement the lubricant production. Anytime we need lubricant but are full of petroleum gas, we turn that gas into solid fuel, and as you can see, we have 286,000 of it. Not only just from this, also I have a separate coal liquefaction over here set up to produce light oil for the death train, and this also produces solid fuel with the excess petroleum gas. Unfortunately, I actually had this wired up wrong at one point, so for quite a while it was just pumping out solid fuel even when it technically wasn't needed for what needs to be produced over here. So yeah, that's why we have a whole bunch of solid fuel. So hopefully the solid fuel train, here we go. It's loading up. It will take a bit because we only have one inserter. But that will give us some time to build what we need. So we need to build nuclear fuel, and for that you need rocket fuel. And luckily that is real easy to make. Yeah, this is what we need. That should be plenty of room. Ooh, light. So we'll put this down. This is a schematic I made on my own in my test creative world. Hopefully the bots will be over here in just a second to put it together. But basically, this should use a full transport belt of a blue transport belt of input and make, well, quite a lot of solid fuel. It's not going to be a full output because I believe it is 10 solid fuel per rocket fuel, but it will produce plenty quickly. And actually, let me put a chest down here, and we'll do 5 stacks. This will be our solid fuel production for the train. So basically, I'm just waiting on the train to come back. Why did I? Oh, and it is on its way, and these are refilling. So we should have solid fuel in just a few minutes here. The next thing, though, is you need to turn the solid fuel. No, here we go already. Look at that. Into nuclear fuel. So that's this. I thought this used a full belt, but apparently I was mistaken. Anyway, each of these uses 10 solid fuel, takes 30 seconds, but we have it, well, going at 340% with 40% productivity, so we're getting some free. There we go. We're getting about 180 a minute, so it's 3 per second, which is really good. Did this actually hook up with? Oh, it hooked up with that. That's good. Oh, we probably aren't making centrifuges. I can handcraft them. I will at a later point actually be making centrifuges once we get through here. Fortunately, we're only that far. Cement is over here. Need another stack. And some red circuits, which I'm sure will be brought to me soon. Or we didn't need that at all. Okay. Let's clear the trees over here. Let's try that again. Let's clear the trees over here. Let's stick this blueprint back down. let's run a blue belt. Alright, let's see how this goes. We're gonna prioritize that output, but just for overflow's sake, we will wind these around. Most of these are full, but these are not yet. I just switched the direction of the belt. It was originally coming this way. So hopefully now that this is going again, that it's not clogged up, we'll get a decent rate. I actually may want to switch these around, something like that. Get out of the tree, thank you. Alright, we'll see how well this is going. These basically take the rocket fuel and a U-235 and 30 seconds and produce a nuclear fuel. So if, you know, it takes the same amount, just takes twice as long, we should also be running at 180, or we should be running at the same rate. Okay, that's going up now as the log jam is removed. Here we go. This is coming up, and we're seeing, hey, we're making like 2 a second approximately. It's gonna just take a bit of time for everything to catch up. The problem is, yeah, it's doing good 2 a second. So it's definitely above our 1 a second. The problem is, hey, these don't stack. I mean, they stack to 1. So that's going to limit how many we can make. Wondering why that's going quite a bit up and down. I mean, you can see these are at 300. Okay, there is a difference. These are at 340% crafting speed, and it basically is crafting speed 5.5. These are crafting speed 4.5, so they're actually a bit slower, because these have a base of 0.75 crafting speed, where those are yellow assemblers, which have a 1.25 crafting speed. So while I do have twice as many, it is not going to be twice as fast. It's actually, well, each one is slightly slower, but I do have, and they take twice as long, the recipes themselves. Let's show that. 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Okay, I thought it was 15 and 30, but it's 30 and 60. But there's twice as many. So it will be slightly slower overall. So if this is, yeah, doing like 150 to 160, we're doing 60 to 80 here. To, well, 120 at points. It looks like we're averaging about 160 and about 90 or thereabouts. But yeah, hey, we're backed up already. We've produced as much as we can. This will even fill a train car rather quick. So yeah, you can see this is backing up here, and in a moment these will all back up, and so yeah, we're not going to have many more produced, but I mean, like, what's going to be on the belt is probably going to be twice or 3 times as much as what we have in chest there. Yeah, so that's that. I'm gonna make sure this doesn't go too crazy at this point. Let's turn that. We don't need these outputting anymore, because the rate this outputs should be plenty, because the belt over there is going to fill up long before we use up all of these, and then we just have more coming. Let's just take a brief look at how... Okay, yeah, this is outputting nicely. We got nice full belts here. You see we're getting some good U235 out of these, and most of them should be just going right through. All of them should be going right through. We're all primed on these 40 Corvix processes that are running at 300% speed. So that's good. I do want to kind of continue where we left off on the items, but well, I've expanded the belt main bus a little more, and again it was asking for more radars, and that really should be something that we are producing automatically at this point. So I want to set that up. But further, I haven't really, like, I've made a lot of these blueprints. A few of these blueprints are from Factorio prints, but a lot of these I've been making myself in a creative world with the creative mod. Basically lets you place down things without requirements. You can build as many as you want without needing materials or anything like that. And they have producers and consumers, so you can just put down something that will give you a full belt of whatever item you want, and then you can put something else that will remove items from the belt as fast as they're on the belt, so you can test the throughput of your construction. But because of that, I haven't really been building too many of these blueprints on screen, so you haven't really been seeing how that goes. So that is something I kind of want to show you, so I figured might as well do that with radars, because it's relatively straightforward. I guess it will fit here. I do kind of know what this should look like. I guess I don't need those. And I don't need those. So, let's look at the recipe for radars. That's 5 electronic circuits, 5 gear wheels, and 10 iron plate. And it takes half a second. So theoretically, in a second, you can use double that as long as you can get all of that into an assembler. And I think we can get all of that into an assembler at that rate. So it makes sense to have at least one assembler for that, and some beacons. Let's request some beacons, because I know we are making them. I think they stack in at least 10. We're gonna hopefully need at least 10. Let's set this for radars. Now with the beacons, we're gonna have speed, so we're not gonna be making them at every half a second. We're gonna be making them much quicker than that. So a blue belt takes or can move 40 items per second, and to really fully clear a blue belt, you need 4 stack inserters. So let's assume we're gonna have a full blue belt of plates. So we're going to need 4 stack inserters. Since the other things are used at half the rate, we're going to need 2 stack inserters each. 3 stack inserters fit on a side, so I mean we can have 3 here, but we're still going to need 1 more. So let's stick it here. So that kind of means we're going to have 1 belt coming this way, and then going like that. And that's going to be our iron plate. And then we're going to have another belt going this way for, let's say, the gears, and then another belt here for the circuits, but that's gonna need to be, come in like that. So this is what we have so far. And then we need to beacon it all up. So beacons, you can either start them right on the corner, or everything but the corner. Either overlapping, let's say, by 1 or by 2 spots. Because you can't, if you're overlapping by 1, the next one is going to fully cover it. So as long as you have 2 before, it's going to be as covered as it can. And then this last one out here, it's hard to see, but that's covering it by only 1 spot. So the one end is going to cover it by 1 spot, and the other end is going to cover it by 2 spots. These 2 in the middle will fully cover, but as long as they're touching any part, they're giving a bonus. And then you just do the same thing on the other side. So we're just going to line these up so it's easiest. And that's as fully beaconed as you can get that. So we'll take our speed beacons. While I'm here, let's request some efficiency modules. So we'll take our speed beacons. I'm just holding control and running my mouse over these. You just have to be close enough. And if we power this now, let's put in some electric poles here. That was a little weird that it was flipping around there, but this is saying it's 400% faster. So theoretically, this is running in 1/8 of a second now. So this is not even going to be able to, like, if we're pulling 40 plates off the second, 40 plates a second off a belt, this is only going to run half the time. Because, that's enough for 4 times a second, but theoretically this can now run 8 times a second. Now there really isn't, like, theoretically we have room for 3 more input inserters, but we need an extra belt, and I mean, you may be able to run some more plate, but then we're gonna need also more gears and more circuits. So I guess maybe you could do 1 inserter for each, but there's no really good way of doing it, and it wouldn't be even. So that's kind of the limit for this at the moment. Let's actually hook this up. This is going to be pretty long. So for now, this will be, we'll make this the plates. We'll make this, let's say, the green circuits, and these the gears. Unfortunately, where we have this, actually, let's move this over 1 and try to miss that pull. The plates and circuits, the plates and gears are pretty far away. So let's try to get this in as quickly as possible. Is this gonna... Yes, it is. Alright, that's good. Yeah, thanks. And this is why I've, for the most part, been trying to... run these lines between episodes. That should be good. You bots awake? You're supposed to keep me filled. I haven't been... Oh. I have been running in and out. Let's stick this in. Here we go. Luckily, we do have plenty of these belts, and we can make them rather quickly. I actually can move up just before the zigzag here. Let's just continue. Do that. That's going to be fun. Let's move it over a little more. That should be good. Alright. From here on I'll be doing these backwards and then just flipping them around later. Now we're in range, so the bots will be bringing me things. Great. I'm gonna move you. Alright, you'll fit there nicely. Yeah, so this is somewhat tedious, but it's straightforward. But we're not done with that blueprint yet. Oh, how did I miss? Look at that. I threw away that concrete, didn't I? Sometimes I think I made these belts too big, but we'll see what happens. Alright, we're continuing all these until here, I think. Let's really check. Yeah, the inner one I want to be these green circuits, so I'm going to pull off this side. I'm going to try to keep all the splits off the top. That way I can keep all these splitters here consistent, and you know the bottom belts will drain first as we keep pushing everything up. But that will keep these top parts of the bus always filled. So we get full belts every time we split off. Okay. We already have a split here, and that will make that too close to cross. But we can move this as long as we move this. Almost there. Alright. We have these going. I just need to flip that around, flip that around. Got gears. Do the same here. Apparently my inventory is filled. I'm not sure with what. Flip these around, flip these around, and flip these around. Flip, 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 flip. Flip, 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 flip. Flip, 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 flip. Flip, 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 flip. Yeah, it probably wasn't the best idea where to build the radar, but I didn't want to stick it in line with the other things. I kind of wanted it by the military stuff, but we don't have other military stuff yet, which is why I just put it down at this side of the bus. Alright. We're almost there. I want to limit this. Let's do to 1 stack. And I have the efficiency modules, so I'm going to dump them in there because we already know we can't even supply it at the rate it's going to run. So there's no use putting speed modules in there, and it's an end product, so you can't put productivity modules. So here comes the materials. Let's see our production rate. Great, that looks quite nice. 200-ish a minute. You see it's running and then stopping. And we've already hit 1 stack. So we're using this at full for 1 belt. But we're actually only using 1 lane of these. Because they're used at half the rate. So, it's not really necessary, but why not have a second belt and a second production. We can reuse 2 of these beacons. So we just need 2 more beacons. Well, 4 more. 2 more for each side. There they are. And we'll double our production rate. The only thing we'll need is to bring in another line over here. trying to remember exactly how I did this. The trick is... Alright. We got a blue underground here. We somehow need to get the circuits over here. And if I remember correctly, I had a splitter. And this won't reach all the way, but we can have it come here. And then there's the two inserters. So that should now be using the full blue belt of gears and the full blue belt of circuits. And we just need to do... We can do the same similar thing like this over here, or we can just do... This will probably be simpler. Thinking back, if I remember... Well, I don't need to think back. Let's check what I did. Yeah, I did the ends to look similar. So both sides had this kind of curve, but that's not really necessary. Let's wait for the autosave. Fill in those with speed. Put efficiency there. I don't need those anymore. Well, I'll leave that empty. I don't need those anymore. Power. That will power all of those, and then I just need to put one on each side to power the beacons. You can see these are both have the same crafting speed now. And I just need to bring in another line. I should have thought about that. I knew I wanted to do two, but I kind of slipped my mind that I would have was going to need another hole belt here. Hopefully this will go in quickly. Because I do want to produce some other things this episode as well. Won't go into the full detail for them. I'll just use my existing blueprints. Alright, you're getting moved. I should have more than plenty the coverage with radars, seeing that I have them every... Well, the same distance as I have the roboports. Yeah, one line does tend to go in a lot quicker because you don't have to keep... Well, you don't have to keep messing. The undergrounds keep turning every time you place them. So you don't have to keep messing with their direction. If you're only placing one. Alright, that works for that. Let's stick in the diagonal to push everything back to the top. Alright. And I just need to flip all of these around. Alright, just need to make sure they were still coming correctly. Alright, hopefully this has been informative as to how I've been doing some of the planning. It's mostly just like building stuff, seeing how much throughput I can get, and finding interesting ways to lay the belts to get as much throughput through as I can. This is going to need to go there. Of course, it helps if I put in... Yeah, it's going the wrong way. Look at that. All the underground belts properly. Speaking of putting in things properly, a few episodes ago I had put in the chests here, and then I wondered why. Hey, why isn't the train? Why aren't things being brought over? Because I had a stack of requester chests in my inventory here, and I used them instead of the passive provider chests I should have been using. I found that and corrected that. Alright, so this has run. It's built as much as its inventory will hold, but because it outputs into the same chest here, it's not going to build that many. Although it apparently can hold 19. So I'm going to up this to, let's say, 4 stacks, and we'll have a moment to watch this as it rockets over 400 a minute. About 440. Yeah. That's, well, and yeah, it's filled already. So that's way above the 1 a second that we're aiming for. So there's that. Now this isn't very complex, but at this point, let me just increase it to, you can see it's maybe even could go a little more, but yeah, it's maybe not quite using a full belt when you get down to it, but it's pretty close. It should be using the full 40 of a second that you get on a belt. I mean, that just threw together 100 in, well, very quickly, let's say. Alright, so we're going back to the end of the main bus here, where we left off. Last time we did artillery wagons. We've done basically, well, we have done everything up till this point. So it looks like the next 2 things to do are the car and the tank. Let's get name them vehicles so they'd be next to each other. They're actually supposed to be near the train stuff as well, but well, there's more things now. So let's stick that down. These are very similar to both the locomotive and the assembling machine, because that's what it says at the top. I was reading it, but it's the artillery wagon. It's just, hey, this needs 8 engines. The tank needs 32, so both of them are smaller than the artillery wagon. but it's basically the same layout. What I do have, and it's not going to be perfect, but it'll work for the most part, is I have a blueprint that's perfect for this part. And I'll stick that down. That's even more perfect because I actually did copy it from over here, I believe. It is, yeah, the plates. Yeah, that one. So I'll only need to run 2 more lines here, and those are the 2 lines for, well, the car itself, everything except the engines, which is iron plates and steel plate. It says 2 iron plates, but since it shouldn't need that much. It really looks like it only needs 5 steel plate, so it shouldn't need that much steel plate. The iron plate probably is needed. Well, probably not even a full belt, because I think these get made about 1 a second when it comes down to it. The only thing I really need to do, which it is in the blueprint, but it won't replace the current belts, is put in the, well, balancing. You should be pulling a full belt, and he winds up pulling from here. Apparently what is filling my inventory? Well, I'm not going to need these. Plate, iron plate, steel. We're gonna move that over 1 because you go there and you go there. I'll fix these properly between episodes. I'll just put 1 extra one, wrong thing, to remind me that, well, to get it working for now. Let's move this over 1, and we'll just leave some room there, and we'll have to do something about this. We'll have you come up here. Oh, alright, we'll move you over to here then. You need to be flipped around, but all the rest of these should be good as long as I hook them up. No, that was the right way. What are you? Oh, yeah, you were the iron plate that I was supposed to be hooking up. Luckily, iron is quite close. Of course, that means I need another there. And I should have, with all the steel plate here, done something similar. I think we're only going to get to cars this time and not the tanks. But we'll get to them next time. Also, apparently I'm fully doing that. I'll leave the rest of this. You need to be fixed, though. Alright, that should be everything we need for cars. Alright, let's hook this all up. So we're making pipes. Pipes come up and then are combined with gears and steel to make engines. The engines come up, are combined, and we're making cars. Making cars at 96 or maybe even 100 a minute. They don't stack, so let's cut this off here and then almost 120 a minute, which is almost to a second. And that should be it now. Alright, that's it now for cars. It says 64, 61. Yeah, it's probably 120 when you come down to it. Looks like these are being produced now at, well, as needed. As trains come in and get refueled, we'll be taking some out of here. Of course, then a few of these will kick on to build more. You can see this backed up and... Ooh. Okay, yep, here comes another train load. And the train already left. Yeah, yep, 6 trains. Why are you where you are? Where was that? Think we may... Hoping we don't... I'm pretty sure... Oh, we got 3 of the trains waiting. Oh, I know where that is. No, it's not out. As far as I know, those trains should be. Some should be going here. And the rest should be going out here. Why are you all going here? The stations are named the same, and that may be the problem. I was hoping they would see that, well, what probably happened is they all went here because it was the closest one and it wasn't backed up at the time. But now that it's backed up, you know, they're all waiting on it, or at least we got 5 of them. I'm wondering if the one that just returned should now be seeing this one as occupied and backed up, and should see this one as empty, and it did, and it filled up like instantly because this one's been waiting here for a while. I'm hoping that's only because I had the uranium closed off for a while, so all the trains stopped here, both of those filled up, none of them were backed up, and only because they all left and like, okay, that's the closest one, let me go there. Well, they're not smart enough to realize that, hey, if we all go to the same one station, it's going to get backed up. It's not like I'm hurting for uranium or anything like that. I mean, this is powering nothing. It's not, well, it's now powering the trains alone. But it's not like it's powering a nuclear power plant or anything like that. And even if it was, I have something like 44,000 uranium here. What should be happening, though, is that some of U-238 recycles, but I'm guessing I don't have enough recycling, and some of it gets put into storage, so like, oh, I can't flip this around, remotely at least. With a big enough weight, it all gets used up, and the Corvix process comes to a halt. Because, well, really only one lane will recycle instead of a full 2. I should really, let's do that. We'll do it right after save, and this will be the last thing in this episode. Balancer, splitter. There we go. Now it will fully recycle a full belts. And only if this gets backed up because of incoming, we should actually... I should set this one to prioritize what is coming in here. But, yeah, only in the case then Let's see if I can run over there before my bots do. I have been filling in a few lakes between episodes, but that's pretty much it. I don't want to fill in lakes on the side too much in case I need water for something. I do think I will need water for some things. Definitely there's a few chemical processes that will require water. I do want to make steam on site to fill the train with steam. So we're going to prioritize. Don't need that anymore. I think I had some loose U238. Speaking of loose U238, my inventory's full. Take a stack. You know that thing I just tore down? Oh, look at that. That's actually just clogging up my inventory. Oh, and just as I do that, we get a train in. So now this, I mean, each of these are going to take, I think it, was it 3 that it needs? It's over here. No, this one. It needs 5, but it gives, yeah, net, we lose 3 per process. So anything that isn't used here will now be recycled around with priority before being shoved in here. Only excess, because you know this gives us probably a single lane. So yeah, this will allow us to do Corvix for longer. I mean, we have 45,000 U238, U235 at this point, which is, it's like a third of the amount of U238 we have. Which we're gonna need for a few things as well, so we don't want to totally get rid of it. But yeah, we'll have to do something with this storage at some point. So yeah, that's it for this episode. We got a few good things. The rocket fuel, nuclear fuel, radar. So now when I expand the bus, I won't have to handcraft them. And we got car manufacturing. Actually didn't get any of these actually put on the train, but I think you've seen enough of getting things put on the train and robots flying everywhere. So I'll call this an episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.